Okay, so RTCs. It's the name of the game right now. If you want to win, you got to have a pretty good RTC. Right now, you guys got 2 Olympians. Right now.
Yep.
Right now, you got for San Marino, you've got Amin going for San Marino, Micic for
Serbia.
For both the first ever to do it.
Yep, first Olympians
in their country's history.
Yep.
What's that feel like knowing you guys are a big, obviously, Cliff Keen has made that happen here at the Bono Center, right?
Yep.
What's it like having Olympians on the team now?
Well, I mean, it's outstanding for our program, and it's outstanding for those guys and the work they've been putting in. It's been a process for them, and their families, because they have heritage in those countries. And it was, first of all, it came, for them to make a decision and make a commitment and work with those countries. And they both, they put a lot of time in preparation-wise. They both wrestle really well at the Worlds. I think Miles Amin had probably one of the toughest paths in his bracket in terms of, overall in all the different weight classes. I mean, he really ran through some guys to get himself qualified for the Olympics. And same with Stevan, and there's a couple different variables with both those guys, in terms of this year deciding an Olympic redshirt them. I think one with Stevan. It's been interesting because you see how this system works now, even with the Olympics and the ranking system. There's a ranking, you get points from Worlds, obviously, but then there's a ranking tournament January 15th where guys can go get points. Well, if Stevan and Miles go compete there, they know those points are theirs and they're already in the Olympics. Then the European Championships for them. If they go compete and win, they get points. So it helps them get seated at the Olympic Games. And for Stevan going down in weight, it was a big factor. Wrestling down to 57 kilos for him and participating in those ranking events was going to make it very difficult for him to do the college season and try to accomplish those things. So, for those guys, there's a ton of work going on in our RTC this year. It's a big year for these guys, performance-wise, and then all of our guys working to make a U.S. team. And in terms of our college guys, those guys are they're putting a lot of time in, day out, to reach their goals this year, and that's all going to build into next year for them.
Logan Massa looked like an old Logan Massa, not like one-legged Logan Massa, right? Like the last 2 college seasons, it wasn't himself. Yeah. It's no question. Everybody knows it. You don't need to tell me what the injuries were. It's obvious, right? If you look at third place Logan Massa as a freshman to sophomore, junior, it's a different human, right? He looked like a different human last week in Fort Worth, right?
Yeah.
And he put it on, the returning NCAA champion, a guy who he probably wouldn't have a chance to beat last year in Pittsburgh. It looked very different. It looked very different in Fort Worth. How do you take that and bottle that, and how do you keep that within the program and use that energy and build off his momentum?
Yeah, that's just the key, is you got to keep building off it, and he's put a lot of work in. He's had some good competitions. He got to go overseas and wrestle in 2 tournaments over in Russia with Sergey. I think those things help him. He's a guy that needs to get back in and compete. Obviously injuries are one thing, and then sometimes that can, start to affect your confidence and other areas you're wrestling. And, so it's been a process for him, kind of clawing his way back. It was great to see him have a great performance in Texas, and there's still a lot of room for him to improve, positionally and technically, but just the mentality he was competing with, and that's one thing we've been talking about a lot with him, is just even in the room, the mentality you're competing with and training with in the room, that's gotta be on the forefront, and then all that stuff will start to carry over into competition.
Body lock to like a back leg block, wasn't that basically what it was, right?
Yeah.
That's just hard wrestling, though. I think that speaks to his pace.
Yeah.
Because the other guy, you're waiting for him to pepper you with a shot. Next thing you know, he's body locking you, throwing you for 4 on your back, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a testament to his pace, though?
Yeah, it's a big testament to his pace. I mean, Logan, when Logan's wrestling wide open and he's hungry to score points, he sets a high pace, a lot of shots, setups, attacks, second actions. And I know when he's wrestling freely, I'm seeing him do those things. So, that's the Logan we need to keep building off of.
Okay. Any other international guys? Any other, redshirts? Dom was a part of the club. Obviously, Kuhn. Will we see Dom? Is Dom done with his international competition? Or do we see Kuhn? Obviously, he's got ranking, he's got Pan Ams, he's got a bunch of stuff going on. So you got other guys that are in your RTC.
Yep.
Right? So Kuhn, he already told me his schedule. It's brutal from here to April. From here to State College, he's going to spend a month overseas. Then he's got to go Pan Am. He's got to come back here for a ranking and the Pan Ams.
Yep.
That's 2 tournaments.
Yep.
Where are we at with Dom? Is Dom done? Where's Dom?
Dom, Dave Habit, Malik Amin, those guys right now, and Yusuf, those guys are all getting ready to go compete over in Canada, in Guelph, Canada, in about 3 weeks. So those guys are getting ready for that competition. I'm not sure about Pantelio. Pantelio just got done wrestling in Texas. He's one of those guys, unfortunately, he's kind of in between weights. So there's some things that have to be decided upon in terms of weight class for him, which Texas was a little bit of an evaluation.
Was he 74?
He wrestled 74.
Yeah, he's probably a 70, but we don't have a 70, obviously.
He's perfect 70.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, without 70, he's either got to go down to 65 or up to 74. And I think he can be at 65, but it's going to take a certain amount of time. And unfortunately, the timing of University Worlds, which he was on the U.S. team, wrestling 70 kilos, that was late October. And to get down to 65, he would have needed to start a lot earlier than that. So, that's kind of something that will have to be decided here after the holidays.
He's got to shrink his body now.
If he
for
decides
April.
to go down, he's going to have to shrink his body.
For now.
Yeah.
Now for April, because we saw what happened to James Green when he tried to do that in, Iowa City in 2016. It just wasn't working, right?
Yep. So that's a decision. But, Alec, he'll be competing. Adam Kuhn, Mason's already qualified for Olympic trials. So, after the NCAA season, that'll be something he hits also.
He's a world champ. I don't know if he's good.
Yeah.
He's a super athlete. Yeah. Don't be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
The guy's good.
Yeah. Mason's wrestling with a ton of confidence and a ton of momentum. And he's made some huge gains in his folk style wrestling too. But we could see him making fast gains in freestyle and the work he was doing. Josh did a tremendous job. Josh Trell was with him a lot this summer, on the road, Colorado Springs, Junior Worlds, stuff he's doing with Sergey here in the practice room with our RTC. With Mason being so raw, having somebody, from a freestyle standpoint, very technical like Sergey, I'm just seeing him, he's making tremendous gains. So he's another guy. And then obviously, Dave and Malik and Dom, their qualification process will be a little different. They'll be going through Europeans. Adam's got to go through Pan Am. So it's going to be a busy spring and summer.
Dave has medaled in Euros before, though.
Yep.
So Dave he's there.
Yep. And
if he medals in, what's he got? Because is it top 2 at Euros to qualify? What's their? It's such a different system, right?
Yep.
His path is going to be difficult now.
Yep.
Because everybody comes out of the woodwork in an Olympic year.
Yep.
We all know that, right?
Yep. So the European Olympic game qualifier, and then there's also, if needed, there's also a last chance Olympic game qualifier. So those would be the 2 last things, the 2 last opportunities for Dave, or Malik to qualify through Europe. Then there's obviously European Championships. They'll compete in that, but that's not a qualifier for the Olympic Games. But yeah, and Dave actually wrestled really well at Worlds. He lost that match to Indy, but he's in on 2 singles. He finishes one of them, he's right there to win the match. And I thought Indy would pull him through. I was kind of surprised that he got beat. But he was right there in those matches, and he has medaled, so he's right in the mix.
Okay, Sergey's your coach. He's one of the all-time greatest Soviets. And I don't know if you know, it was harder to win under the Soviet system just to beat the guy.
Yeah.
Because it's all these other countries now, Azerbaijan. They were all a part of the Soviet Union. I don't think a lot of people understand. It was really difficult to be the Soviet guy.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, your commitment to the amount of athletes you've got and the best coach that you can go and get on the planet Earth, how do you guys do that? How do you maintain this? How do you sustain the success level at the Cliff Keen, athletic club, which you got? When you look at it, though, it's an RTC, it's a regional training center.
Yep.
Nittany Lion Wrestling Club's huge. Obviously, Ohio RTC, Hawkeye. We've got it's an arms race. How do you do it? How do you fundraise? How do you keep all the athletes? How do you do it as the head coach of the University of Michigan and you're the head coach? It's hard. How do you do this?
Yeah, it's a big job. It's really turned into, really overseeing and running 2 programs. And, the college program, I feel, is actually a little less work because it's very streamlined and you have a lot of resources. You have your athletic department, you have a budget, you do a lot of work recruiting and developing your guys. Number one, those are like 1A and 1B is recruiting athlete development within your own program, but in terms of an RTC, you don't have a lot of resources, because it's all independent. So we rely heavily on our alumni base and our donor base. It takes a lot of institutional commitment to support, the coaching staff and the college program, and them understanding how important the RTC is, alongside your college program to elevate everything you're doing, but you see the benefits of it. I mean, it's a lot of extra work, but you see the benefits those student athletes get, and the guys that have aspirations to, win world and Olympic gold medals. And it's super competitive, so in terms of your coaching resources, the fundraising, the budget you have for those athletes, the support you can give them, getting them the right training experiences, getting them to the right competitions, it all matters. Everything matters in what you're doing when you're trying to win. And, we're making a huge commitment. Michigan Wrestling is making a huge commitment to have the Cliff Keen Wrestling Club alongside it. And our alums have gotten really excited about it. They're supporting it. We just had a recent capital campaign that we're really pushing, Wolverine Gold Medal Fund. And we've gotten a great response from donors and from our alumni base. Even some of our young alums, are putting in small amounts of money monthly. And it all adds up. And that's truly what it takes to run a successful college program these days.
How do you get Sergey Belaglazov here? How do you get that guy here? What's that story? Tell me the story. Come on, I want to hear a story.
So Sergey, I knew Sergey. I met him a few times, even when I was competing. He was
like that time you beat Saitiev and you didn't beat him. You beat him, but you did. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah. Well, when I was in college, he was actually coaching at Lehigh. So when I was young and in college, obviously I knew who Sergey was, and I followed his wrestling, the best I could. We didn't have YouTube or Flow Wrestling back then, but we had access to video, and I followed his wrestling and studied stuff. And then he was coaching at Lehigh. And then when I was competing for the U.S., I wrestled overseas, and a few times I was wrestling overseas, he was coaching Japan. And they had a good guy at my weight, Oda Tokei, and I wrestled Oda twice. And Sergey was coaching him both times. And I ended up, after the match, talking to Sergey a little bit. And then when Sergey was back here in the early 2000s, working for USA Wrestling and Sunkist, I brought him to Overtime to do a couple clinics. And so I've gotten to know him over the years. And, 2 summers ago, when Anatoly and Sergey were doing that summer clinic tour, we had him here for a clinic and went out to dinner and was just talking to him about what he's doing. And, one thing led to another. And he has, his daughters were interested in finishing high school in the United States and possibly going to college here or back in Europe, not sure, but he was just thinking about coming back to the United States for academic reasons for his kids. And next thing I know, we're talking about, well, what you think about coaching? Would you want to live in Ann Arbor? And so it was kind of quick. The process started to unfold pretty quick. And for me, Sergey, he's got tremendous strengths in the mat room. I know, I want him focused on training guys and running practices and teaching our guys in the RTC. Our staff's doing a lot of the fundraising. We have Sergey involved in some of the events we do, but his primary role is just, he's on the mat a lot with these guys. And it's unbelievable how much he can still do on the mat. I mean, he's just unbelievable, his strength still, his ability to teach and be on the mat in mornings, afternoons, work with guys, demonstrate on them. It doesn't matter the size, You
were like, he could throw you, Zeb. You want him to throw, let him throw you. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I know he would gut wrench you.
I know that.
Him with Dom and these guys, and he'll be on top, and it's just unbelievable. But I've been around a lot of great wrestlers. U.S., foreign. I've been fortunate to spend time, training camps, in other practice rooms, at Foxcatcher. I mean, Sergey is definitely one of the very best technicians I've ever been around in terms of teaching wrestling, every position, options. I mean, his wrestling IQ is just the highest I've ever been around. And I think for us in the United States right now, kids know, they know how to train hard. You can give them a push. They understand how to, wrestle hard and do a lot of things. But there's a lack of technique sometimes in terms of setups, finishes, combination wrestling, chain wrestling. So I wanted a guy, we started looking, I wanted a guy that would really be on the same page and kind of a pillar for that, And if you ever watch Sergey teach wrestling, that's the system him and his brother grew up on. It's the way they train together. Amount of drills, and if you watch him wrestle, it's just a precision technique, And I'm seeing some of that already pay off with our guys, setup wise, different positions, and it's just a it's been an important piece for me and an important resource that we want our guys to have.
He's 63. He did not stop moving today. I saw him doing sit-ups, crunches. I saw him jogging. He did not stop moving today. He was working with guys the whole time, going from group to group, and it wasn't just the great guys who were going to be world level. It was guys who were your blue collar guys who were here. He was working with everybody.
Yeah.
He's impressive. And then everyone is leaving, hey, see you guys, see you. Saying bye to everybody.
Yeah.
Nice guy on top of it.
He's a fun guy to be around. The guy really loves the sport. He's passionate about it. He's passionate about learning how to wrestle, teaching guys really how to wrestle, and he has a lot of fun doing it. He's just a fun guy, and he knows his wrestling, and he's just a great asset for us. So we really have enjoyed him being here, and definitely seeing the benefits of it.
So Cliff Keen Wrestling Club, you guys, is it year to year? How much longer are we going to see him? Do you even know that yet?
We have a certain amount of time commitment together, and then we'll reevaluate that if it's the right thing. Obviously, we have a lot of confidence in Sergey, and we've already seen some of the benefits. And it's also some of the he really has been instrumental in helping us gain access for some training camps, foreign partners overseas, stuff that kind of makes a difference, in the international process, and even with some young guys. I know we had 11 guys overseas with Sergey this summer, with Kellen and Sergey, and those training camps and stuff. It just creates a whole nother perspective and opportunity for guys around the sport. So for us, we're going to see basically what the next steps are and what's best for him and his family as well.
Awesome. All right, Coach.
The plan is to keep him here.
I want you to keep him here forever if you can. He's awesome. I want to get him doing technique. I was just videoing him helping people, but I want to get a clinic or something with him. But all right, you got anything else for me?
No, just appreciate everything. Great seeing you. All the best in the new year.
Yeah, you too, man. And we're going to go get geared up too, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get geared up. I'm going to be wearing Michigan gear on. People are going to be giving me the business. Hey. I don't care. My wife's she's a pioneer. Your daughter's a pioneer. Our Sergey's daughter is pioneers.
Sergey's daughters are pioneers.
Listen, we got pioneer blood in us. It's our pioneers, aren't they?
That's right.
That's literally the mascot.
And, all right. And there's nothing better than seeing a guy in Ohio wearing a little maize and blues.
Hey, I'm in. All right, Coach. Thanks for the time. Keep it up. Good luck to you guys in the new year, and I think we might be up for Oregon State, all right?
Awesome.
Thanks man.